Today, we're tackling a challenge that many cities face: parking. Our new border town is growing fast, now home to over 10,000 residents, but its streets and alleyways are already packed with cars, with more demand for personal vehicle space. Instead of letting cars dominate the landscape, we're taking a different approach, moving parking underground. We'll be constructing a large subterranean parking system beneath the heart of the city, freeing up streets for pedestrians, greenery, and better urban design. But parking isn't the only thing on our agenda. To make this town truly livable, we'll be adding public transport, critical services, and carefully detailing the streetscape to create a functional and beautiful city. Welcome to Sunny Isle. Hi everyone, I'm Scunny, and today we're playing City Skylines 2. We're over by the other side of the map where we built this new border town. At the moment it's Clifton, but we did put a community poll out on YouTube, and we'll have a look at the results at the end of the episode. Today we're going to kick off with a little bit of a controversial project. So in the centre of our new town here, we've got quite a lot of commercial, so let's have a look at the info view. So yeah, it's all focused around the train station. And while we did provide some parking when we were creating the city layout, you can see most of these spots are now completely full up. And if we go into the more suburban area, even these alleyways are completely full of cars. So today I'd like to introduce a new parking solution. And looking down here, we've got this medical facility that we placed down in the last episode, with this kind of awkward open spot here where I think a building is probably despawned. And I'd like to bring a road down and create an underground parking lot, specifically underneath the commercial area of the town, as I think they would probably benefit the most from allowing vehicles in the area. And at the same time, we can also retain the beauty of the town by not having too many parking structures around. So if we go into our road tools and check out the parking roads, not all roads work underground. I think there's some issues with some of the alley versions. However, I do know that the regular 2-lane and the angled parking roads do work. So we'll go for these. And to go underground, we need to make sure we're at a sufficient depth, which is at 12.5 meters. We can even turn on the parallel road tool and try to create this in synchrony. So yeah, this is a little bit too close. So let's try 0.5 meters. And I'm going to stay underneath the commercial area. So let's see if we can see that at the same time. We can go up to this road here. And we'll be connecting up to this corner at the top right. Next up, we need to connect these by using just a simple alley road or even just a regular 2-lane road. Let's use the 2-lane road so that there is a sidewalk that people can walk on. And again, we need to drop this down to 12.5 meters. Brilliant. Now we could add an extra one in the middle here, but we will lose some parking spaces. But I do think it will probably help with the flow of things under there, so we'll add that in. And that sits underneath our little pedestrian boulevard that we've got down here with the alfresco dining. Now over here, this is where we need to bring the road down. So we are going to lose a couple of buildings, so let's just dezone these two here. And that one will go, and then that one will rebuild itself into a smaller lot. And let's grab the 2-lane road, and we need to bring this back up to the surface. And I want to snap to this section here just after the intersection And then we need to bring this out and then down again. This needs to go down to 12.5 meters. And now that we're underground, let's curve this in. I think that should be okay. And let's have a look at what this looks like on the surface. So yeah, it's a little bit janky. So let's have a play around with move it and see if we can fix this. There we go, a slight adjustment, and I'm not 100% sure whether it's a super smooth curve down here. It looks okay. It's quite cool, you can almost see it rendering down there. You can see a few pedestrian crossings, but yeah, look, we've already got quite a lot of people using it, including this delivery van. I'm not sure why you would venturing down there, and another one. But we do have lots of vehicles starting to go down there now. So parking was definitely needed in the area. We will also have a look at adding some more public transport through here, but I didn't want anyone's cars to despawn, especially as this area is still growing as the buildings are leveling up. We do have this little odd artifact on the road here, and I think the way to fix that is, again, using move it. You can see that just the slightest movement completely changes everything through here. There we go, looks good, and we didn't screw up any of the other roads too much. But yeah, we did lose a building here, so let's have a look at the zoning grid. We can plop a building, just so that we're getting a nice corner. And given that we've lost a historical building, maybe we can place down a newer looking building. So if we head into our buildings tab, so we certainly have the German one, which was probably there originally. But we also have EU mixed. We also have urban promenades, which I'm tempted to put down because it looks so different, but it's probably a very controversial build. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that is going to be very controversial. What does that look like from the distance? Yeah, I mean, it looks okay. It's the grass roof that kind of makes it stick out the most, but for this area, I imagine it could have been a part of the development. This could have been a part of the construction site, but excavating this underground car park. Oh, that's good. I don't mind that. And what's nice about these little urban promenade assets is they do include some trees and some seating areas along the outside, which is quite cozy and kind of suitable for the area. Okay, so we've got this kind of awkward space around this ramp, which we can decorate with just a few trees. And I even downloaded my first ever graffiti pack, which includes some of the content creators' names, including Scunny decals, which I'm quite excited to take a look at. Look at this. Beautiful. So we could even have a look at maybe having a little one on the end here, where somebody has risked their lives to paint this on the wall, whereas down here it probably gets cleaned off. I like that up here. So let's have a look at what else. We want a little one maybe, just to go alongside this. That's a bit big. Oh yeah, that red one's quite cool. Let's put that in there. There we go. Yeah, very subtle. And then for these other areas we can add some fencing and foliage. There we go, little simple pack to cap off the top of the ramp. Didn't go crazy with the trees because I imagine that the root ball wouldn't be able to go very far. So just a few shrubs along here, and then this is my little attempt at some sort of manicured wall garden using some of the UK hedge assets. It's not really supposed to look that organic. I imagine maybe somebody can come through here and make it look a little bit geometric, a little bit more artistic. I don't know. It looks interesting. Little wall along the front just to protect anyone from falling off. But you may have noticed through that little time lapse that we had loads and loads and loads of people coming through here. So if we go into underground mode and have a look at this car park, you can see all the cars parking up. It's extremely busy. It's a little bit quieter down this end, as you can imagine. Just ignore the surface level car park. But it's slowly filling up. Loads and loads of people are using it. But at the moment we've only got one access point, and that's over here. And I'd like to add another one over by the town centre so that when people leave their cars away from the pedestrian area, there's a way for them to come back up. So what we can do is we can grab the pedestrian paths and start to make our way down underground and create some extra access points within the train station asset, this subway, so that people can change the side of the platform. And I'm curious to know whether we can connect up an invisible path to this underground segment to our car parking area. So let's just try this out. So that is going down. Interesting. Let's watch this to see if anyone starts using it. I'll just turn the speed up super fast. Stop the press. Look at this. We've got somebody using it. Let's have a look at their traffic route. So they've come from the underground car park and they're heading to the train station. So this is what I was worried about. Are they simply going to the train station, or are they able to enter the train station and then exit again? So they are waiting for the train. Yeah, and that's her off. She's off somewhere else. But what we could do instead is have a look at creating access points within these commercial buildings themselves. So most of these are level 5 now, so they're not going anywhere. Invisible paths, to my knowledge, don't create any conflict issues with zoning either. And where we've got doorways into these buildings, or maybe even passageways, we could have a look at creating access points. So I see lots of garages, lots of doors, but I don't necessarily see a good spot for creating an underground access point. Maybe these little brown doors. I think these are probably access points for the residents, but we could maybe reuse them for car park access. So let's give that a go. So we've already got a location marker set up here. This is this shiny cylinder. So this is an entry point into the building. Hopefully this doesn't disrupt anything. And it's quite difficult to see, but we are in between two roads here. So if we pull this out halfway between the two. Now, I know this isn't the most thrilling experience to watch in video, but I'm very curious to see if this works. And I can see just slightly that there's a couple of connection points. You can see there's one on that side and one on that side. So let's aim for the middle. And then let's watch this to see if anybody uses it. Oh, we're already starting to see people using it. I just saw those two people come back up on the car park, and I'm sure we'll see some more in a second. Yeah, there's another one. So it does work. You can create underground car parks with access points within your buildings. That's great. Okay, I'm going to add a couple more access points through here just so that we've got a lot more connectivity, and we should be good. So with that in place, we've got a couple of extra access points at the back of this commercial area, and then we've got the one at the front here, as well as the one that's connected to the train station. Now I know that it's not the most ideal to encourage car parking here, but this area is home to almost 1,100 people now, and surface level car parks will not be enough. And in real life there probably would be a lot of subterranean car parks, and many of these assets don't really include those, not in the base game at least. When some of these buildings contain, you know, as many as 52 residents, 24 households, you could be looking at anywhere between 30 to 50 vehicles just in this one building. They need to park somewhere, especially when this isn't the most urban area. It's urban on a local scale, but on a larger map scale, they will need to get to work, get to services in the main town. And as we build out the rest of the island, there's going to be many more attractions that they will want to visit. Okay, next up, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. And as you can see, we've got all these hearse icons. So death care and death waves have become a lot more common since the last patch. And I think it's probably to do with the de-aging formula. Now, I'm not sure whether when they de-aged all the senior citizens, whether it was done on a smooth scale or whether it was done in groups to a specific age, say to like 50 years old or 60 years old. So if we have a look at the city statistics and we go down to population decline and then we check out the death rate, and let's set the scale to about a year, shall we? This was the first death wave. We had around about 1,000 people expire, and then it dropped down to around about 100, 150. Then the second death wave came, and this is around about 700. And then this drops down to around about 300. And now we're going through another one, and this one is around about 600. So I am seeing a gradual decrease over time. So I think the death waves will resolve themselves eventually. So I'm not too concerned about having all the icons everywhere. They will clear up eventually. And we do have an extra crematorium that I placed off camera for the last episode. This one's just tucked beside the tram depot. I know it's not the most desirable location, but I think we could pretty it up eventually. There's plenty of foliage here with the hedging and the trees to kind of protect the view and noise away. In addition, crematoriums are always the nicest places to live next to either, so they are often quite isolated. But we could have a look at creating a memorial garden or connecting it up to this larger hill with some parks and recreational grounds, just to give the area a little bit more respect that it deserves. But for now, it was in a good spot. We had an empty lot, and it's got good access to the wider region. It's got access to this main road that wraps around to the coal power station down to the border, but we also have this secondary road that leads pretty much directly to our new city on the coast. Okay, before we stick in the new bus line, this has been a reoccurring issue in this area, and it's fire coverage. So we've got a park that has burnt down. The only fire station that we've got in the area at the moment is down by the border here, and this is just a simple small vanilla firehouse with the extension garage. It has 8 vehicles, none in use at the moment. It's in a pretty good spot. You know, these are vital services that need to be attended in case there's fire. But this road along here does get choked up with traffic sometimes, especially down by this level crossing here. We've got this simple roundabout that's always chugging away. I think it's working fine. I do want to look at upgrading this in the future with an overpass. But we don't need to do that right now. It's handling the traffic reasonably well, but I can see justification for improving it in the future. Let's stick down a dedicated fire station or a firehouse for this area. I like the look of somewhere around here where we've got this new retail area and we've got this empty lot at the back. So we've got the custom park over here, which is glorious. It's looking great, and it would be a shame if it were to burn down, but over here, I don't really want to add another park. I think we could develop this, and it's not that desirable. We've got all this parking at the back of these shops here. So I was having a look at the new firehouse from the Eastern European pack, and it's nice and narrow. It's only 2 units wide, and I thought it almost fits here perfectly. We've got a little bit of overlap. So let's see if we can narrow this road down using one of the alley parking roads. Yeah, a trick that I saw infrastructurists use is if we were to upgrade this to a one-way alley with parking and then use the upgrade tool to convert this side into a key, it creates a much more narrow road, opening up a little bit more space for development in this area. So if we grab the small fire station, you can see it fits pretty much perfectly now into that area. And doesn't that just look great? We will probably need to clear out a little bit of space in front of these garages. Yeah, there we go. I think that's quite a nice fit. And the colours are fine. I'm happy with it. I don't think you can change them on here. We could add an extra couple of fire engines if we wanted to onto the end here. So we'll do that just in case things get a little bit wild with those fires. But I'd say that's in a pretty good spot. And over here, I think we've even opened up a little bit of space for development. I was thinking what we could put here. You might not want to live too close to the fire station, especially if there's some training exercises going on. So maybe we just put in a little bit of an office, low density office, provide a bit more access to office services in this area, because I don't think we've got that much at the moment. And this will eventually upgrade to something bigger, I imagine. Anyway, I hadn't really talked about this area in the last video. I just quickly zoned down some regular retail zone just to kind of see what it would look like along here. It's kind of a homage to a Strode, but I'd say it's a little bit more attractive than a typical Strode, since we've only got a single lane of traffic going through in each direction except for the turning lanes. And I zoned it with a mix of North American, European, and a little bit of Japanese. And I think this is one of the Japanese assets upgraded to level 5 or level 3. Yeah, so I think this is quite a unique looking building, and I might just lock it since it's very distinctive, and I'd like to come back to this area and kind of recognize this location. And it's probably a very desirable spot right on this crossroad near the park, where there's lots of people coming and going, especially with the school in the distance. And I just think it looks very pretty. Okay, so back here we can start to decorate this little lot. There's a bit of an access point here, or we can have a bit of access over here, and maybe just create a little bit of parking for the firefighters and the office workers. Okay, so I didn't go absolutely wild with the details. I just added just enough to help it integrate into the overall fabric of the city. I played around with a few of these upgrades along the road here. So this row of parking is a part of the road network itself, and then I added some of these custom parking lots behind with an invisible path or an invisible road that kind of wraps around here. And a few of these little custom bollards by Harbour Master J, a little seating area with a little bit of shade to protect you from the island sun, and the whole area's kind of come together really nicely. Next up we'll be putting down a new bus line. This will start at our new town, go through the colliery, pass through the docks and the border control area, and then head down to the coal power plant. We won't put a bus line all the way to the main town since we've already got a train going through the area, and I don't want to cannibalize existing routes. Okay, I've got all the bus stops in place now. I placed a couple of extra ones which I don't think I will need. So originally I've got the one down by the train station, and I'm starting right down in front of the station here, just to block away where we've got that alfresco dining area. And then I've got it wrapping around the back, and well, this is what the line will be. So we've got a stop here, we stop here, and a stop here with a space of around about 2 blocks in between. And in urban areas, you typically want to space your bus stops around about 200 meters, and then in less urban areas, suburban areas, 400 meters. So after that, we've got the stop outside the school, and then I placed a stop just outside of the fire station here. Just a couple of these small ones with the sign, not with the shelter itself, as I thought it could serve this area quite well. And then I was considering bringing a road up at the top here to cross near where the rail is, and then adding a stop at the coal yard. But then I was a little bit concerned about routing all the traffic up here without really considering if it's really needed in the area, since we've already got quite a major bridge covering these 2 rivers here, and another bridge at the top here, which is one that came with the road, with the map. So I wasn't really keen on adding an extra one unnecessarily. So instead I placed a more robust bus solution in this area. I've left those 2 just by the fire station in case we want to use them in the future. It also tells a little bit of a story about how a city planner changes their mind. Anyway, so this was originally an extra wide road with a single lane of traffic and parking bays, and instead we've got the 4-lane road coming through here. I added the bus shelters, and then instead of creating the bays for the buses, I expanded the sidewalks so that they were extra wide, and that means that the bus stop itself is adjacent to the road. But that can cause traffic issues, especially if there's traffic waiting behind the bus. So adding the bus lanes here, the bus lane marking, stops vehicles from entering this area. And I'm not sure whether I showed it in the build, but you will find that people will instantly switch lanes here and here to get out the way, and it just frees up this lane for buses. And then it also helps, we've got these extra walkways here, and I also added some invisible paths to get through to the back of this block where we've got this parking, and I think it's just a much better solution for this area overall. And not only does it serve these shops here, but it also serves the park. We've got some attraction here with the small playground, as well as these people. And let's not forget the actual school and welfare centre. And I've just placed a couple of stops in front of the freight yard here. We don't have that much traffic on Cherry Lane. And I've placed them on the same side of the road, nearest the rail depot, just so that we could have the buses come all the way down here, and there's an actual dedicated turn lane, so they're not holding up any of the traffic on the main road. Over here we don't have that luxury. It's just a single lane going straight through, and I think if there was a bus waiting here to come in, it might cause a backup. And yes, we could remedy it by creating an asymmetric road here as well, but I don't really see it necessary when we've got that solution up here, and I'm really excited about seeing buses go underneath this conveyor belt. I think that'll be quite cool to see. Okay, let's check out where the next stop is. So the other place that we need to serve is the port and the industrial area, and we've got quite a lot of jobs in this area. You can see we've got mostly large level 5 buildings, I believe. Yeah. But this is a very busy intersection with the addition of the train level crossing. So I just cut through a little road here on the corner, set up some of the lanes just so that it's only allowing traffic through where the bus will actually travel. And then we've just got a couple of these tiny little bus stop signs. Like I said, we are coming up to rush hour, so this is probably as bad as the traffic will get, so it's not too bad, is it? And then after that, I've got a stop at the rail station outside the Switch On factory, and this is just reusing an existing bay, added an extra shelter here, I believe, and then we've got another shelter on the other side, the incinerator plant. So this is where we've got an existing bus stop as well. This is one that goes out of town. So this one will be the one that goes over to the coal power plant here, and we've got a nice little turnaround. So the buses may want to use this country road. We'll have to see how the line behaves, but preferably they would turn around and come back onto the highway system here through the interchange just above the border. And then after that, we just have a couple of stops down by the coal power plant. One to serve these farms and a few of these homes here, and the other one here just in front of where people can access the actual coal power plant, and again a couple of factories and the farms. So yeah, let's grab the bus line tool. Let's set the color to lime. I like lime. And to name this bus line, we're going to follow our typical convention of the two terminus locations. So this is from Fort Field to Clifton, which is subject to change. Oh, looks like it's had an accident. So I was following it all that time and it just couldn't even finish the full route. And that's going to cause so many issues through here. This is like the main road. So we'll have to come back to this and see how much it's being used in the future, whether it's been useful. I think at least within Clifton it's useful to get people around the neighborhood itself and to get them to school. but whether it's useful for the wider region, I'm not 100% sure. Next up, let's have a look at communications and postal services. And it looks like the vans are out. So what we can do to help alleviate the workload of the postal workers, because at the moment these will be going to every individual address. We can place down the actual mailboxes. So I'm just gonna spread these out almost in a grid fashion. And let's place one down here on Dean Street. I think that's a good spot. And we should be good. I would appreciate building a new post office in the area, just so that people have the option to walk to one if they need to. I wonder, would that fit in here? That might look quite cool, actually. Let's turn road snapping off. And let's see if we can eyeball this. There we go. Yeah, that looks good to me. Yeah, so you should be able to see this building from down the road. Yeah, that's nice. We got the extension wing, so that just adds some capacity. We'll add that. Looks like there's an access point at the back here that we could play around with. And then we got another extension wing that adds some extra mail vans. Yeah, why not? That looks nice to me. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, like I said, I think we can rework this block as well. I'm not a fan of these curved roads, and then we can get that small taxi depot back in as well. So let's work on that. Okay, so I'm starting to put together a new backdrop to the city. As it's called, well, at the moment Clifton, but I think that is likely to change now that I have seen the latest polling results. But all the names given for the area are mostly focused not just on the coastal location, but on this hill here. So before we just had a pretty subtle gradient going up to the top here. I'd like to put more emphasis on the cliff face itself. For a backdrop, I think it really does solidify the idea that this area was quite rugged and the city couldn't expand any further this way. So looks like death care is getting a little bit out of hand. Let's have another look at our statistics, because I think my theories about it decreasing may have been wrong. So let's have a look at the death rate. It's getting worse, guys. Hence why I've placed down a couple of more hearse garages. These are connected to the crematorium in the Valley View commercial area. And what I did is I came into the upgrade screen, grabbed the hearse garage, I turned on Anarchy, and I was able to place this outside of the build area. And I was watching it for a little bit, and if we have a quick look at the statistics, they are using all the vehicles, and the vehicles are coming and going, spreading out the service across the city, which is fantastic instead of having it all concentrated in one area. And you can see we don't really have any death care issues out here anyway. It's mostly in the city, and it could be partly because we've got traffic jams, a poor traffic flow. The traffic through here is quite bad at times, especially down near the river, but even through here we've mostly got alleyways and just 2-lane roads, so it's not the most traffic efficient city. Okay, continuing our theme of adding more city services to this area, we have the new fire station and the new postal services. I did sneak in a little taxi rank in the last episode without really telling anyone, just to add to the taxi chaos. But it might actually be worth adding a dedicated police station out here as well. Again, the only police station that we've got is down by the border control, but I think it might be worth adding something here. We've got this little service area at the back now. I think we could make use of this space, something small. Looking at the available assets that we've got for the police station, I really like the look of the German police station. It's no surprise that the roof colour matches the rest of the build, given that we're mostly using the German theme through here. And this is such a nice little building. It kind of looks coastal to me, almost Mediterranean. And I think if we adjust some of these roads around here, we might be able to fit this in between the car park and the train tracks. Plop that in here and it fits nice and snug. And along here we could use some of Dome's parking. Since they're only a single tile depth. One there, and well, over here I think it might be nice to put a little bit of a pocket park as well. There we go, just provide a little bit more seating in the area. Let's grab a surface. Just a simple road surface will do. So pavement surface will come through here, and it doesn't matter if it's the same color or not, it looks like it's the right color. And in front of the police station, this is super cozy, I like that. I like these little alley roads. It creates nice, dense, interesting areas. Although there's no sidewalks, people are happy to use them. And if there's not too much traffic in the area, it's not that much of an issue watching people and cars kind of sharing the same space. They don't seem to cause that much of an issue for each other. But I can imagine this is a great place to work as a police officer. You've got a view of the bay here. So I'm just going to add a few more details and bring this road round and connect it up to the other side of the train station as well. So every day is a learning day when it comes to mods. So an episode or two ago, I introduced Tree Controller, and what you can do with Tree Controller combined with the tree brush sets. So I've got a custom set here for number 3, and in here we've got a couple of wild bushes. I've got the apple tree, little green bush, and then I've got a coconut palm on the other side. Come down here to the advanced line tool, and I think the default setting is 20 meters, so typically it would look a bit like this. But if I set this down to, I think it was at about 3 meters, yeah, that's quite nice. I've set the rotation to random. I've set the selection of trees to random. and you're quickly able to create hedgerows super quick without having to place multiple trees down. It is purely random what is placed and what isn't, and you can always come through afterwards with the single tree mode and just place a couple in, and it should look good. But yeah, saves a whole heaps of time. I love that tool. Okay, coming over here, I started to detail up the area. We've got the little police quarters, resting area, a little garden at the back with a gazebo. And you might think I've covered up the view with all the trees, but it's quite thin foliage. So you've got beautiful views of the bay still. I placed down this pedestrian path that follows alongside the tracks, just provides a little bit of a shortcut. A little bit of an industrial building at the back here with some parking. We've got a timber company in here and a textiles company with a little bit of gas storage, and it's quite nice because it's completely hidden away from the city itself. So earlier this week, I put out a poll on the channel asking people what they think this area should be called. I drew up a short list based on the comments from the last episode. So we had a great suggestion from Sakatiso of Clipstrand, which won the poll and said it would be a fitting German name since you used a lot of German residential and the palms remind me of the Dutch Caribbeans. And the name just means cliff beach. And that'll forever cement the Germanic roots of the area. Pretty good. Nice little customization of the tower, and it fits really nicely into the area. Let's have a quick look at that bus line before we go anywhere else and see if this is getting any more usage. So there's 43 people on that specific bus, but if we have a look at the overall line, we've got 170 people using it now with 18% usage on that line. And if we have a look at our underground car park, let's have a look to see if that's full. Whoa, that is really full. So we're almost at capacity. A couple of spots down here as well, but that's good. Yeah, I didn't want to overbuild it and I didn't want to underbuild it, so I feel like we found the right balance there. And that's it for today's episode. By moving parking underground, we've freed up valuable space, making downtown greener, more accessible and better for pedestrians without removing cars entirely. The transformation is subtle but significant. Fewer cars on the streets, improved bus connections, and a city that feels more livable. But what do you think? Should cities invest in underground parking? Or is there a better way to manage cars? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you back here in sunny Isle.